Wouldn't it be nice to quickly just export looper content to clips and have them played automatically? Hi, I'm Toby from abletondrummer.com, and I have a Max for Live device for you, which is exactly doing that. So it's called the Create Clips from Looper. So we are talking about the Ableton Looper here, which has some disadvantages when it's coming to live looping in Ableton Live, but it has one really great big advantage here, and which is being able to set the tempo via your first loop. So you can, I really just love this, that you can start just playing, and if you play more or less tight, then you are able to have this as your new and as your main tempo for your whole Ableton Live session here. But soon there are coming some disadvantages here, and if you want to change the tempo, it will repitch your material here. So there is now the opportunity, the possibility, I mean, to have treating that as a clip, and I quickly, no, or maybe not that quick, it's probably becoming a quite long video, because it's a manual run through showing you how to set this up and explaining every function of my Max for Live device I made for this. So this is the Create Clips from Looper device, Max for Live device. It's sold separately, but it is included in a whole suite of different looper control devices here. So for example, the visualization you see here is a different device for the looper, and the looper controller I'm using here as well is a different device. They are all being included in this whole suite, or if you just want to create clips from looper device, you can buy this separately. Okay, so very important, you will need Ableton Live 12 to make use of this, because only since Ableton Live 12 those things are accessible to be controlled in the API. Plus, this is a Max for Live device. You will need Max for Live, which is included in Ableton Live Suite, or can be bought as an add-on towards Ableton Live Standard. Okay, so let's dive into this. So let's record a loop without a preset tempo, and that's what I like about the Ableton Looper. So I just play maybe 2 chords, and this is being set as the main tempo here. Now the main BPM changes when you play something faster or slower. But if I now change the tempo, it's changing the all of the loop stuff. So let's do this once more, just to show you if I play something a little bit different. It's a little bit faster now, so I want this as a clip now. I want to export this as a clip, and I can quickly do this via my device. I will explain how this works, but just for you to show, I'm not sure which button I mapped up. I think this one, not this one, the other one. And it's exporting that as a clip now. And we can hear there is some small crackling. I need to have a look what that is actually, but just so you understand, okay, so this is actually how you can do this. You can do this with multiple looper instances, all being mapped to the same button. So I'm using a MIDI controller here, the Pocket from MIDI Button, but obviously every MIDI controller which is being able to send in MIDI CC, MIDI note, or MIDI program change can be used for making use of that. So let's get rid of that clip here again, and let me quickly show you what the device looks like and how it needs to be set up. So first of all, you need to, when you open this up, you want to map it to a looper it should take the clip from, and it will take all the content which is currently in there and put this into a clip. So if you have multiple layers in here, it's not exported as separate clips. If you're interested in that, you want to check out my one button live looper, which is a really good way of being able to record layers separately, Max for Live device as well, and you have access to all single layer there. But that's a different topic. Let's have a look at this create clips from looper device, which can be used in conjunction with my one button live looper quite well. Okay, so first of all, we want to map this. So we hit map to looper. We then need to touch a parameter of the looper I want to control. So that can be the feedback button or the on and off, for example, works quite well. And then this is mapped to the looper here and will perform this clip export here. So you can now actually just press the button and it will do that instantly. There we go. So I think because of the screencast, I'm getting some crackers here right now. I need to check that after the screencast, if that's only the screencast here. Okay, so this is the button here to export this clip, and it will do that on the next one. So it is like global it's like the global quantization stuff here. So let's set this up to be controlled via a MIDI controller. So we have a MIDI import section here, so we can select the MIDI controller we want to use here, in my case the MIDI Dobinia Pocket, if you want to have all channels being received. And then you can set up here a direct MIDI note in section. So if I now hit a button, this is being mapped automatically to, and it's being detected automatically. So if you're using CC or program change, it detects this automatically as soon as I hit S. It's waiting for the next MIDI note to come in, and this will perform this MIDI mapping detecting. I'm setting in a G1 here now. Cool, so now I need to define where I want the track, the looper being exported to which track. So we have a menu here of all the tracks. Here you need to make sure that you are selecting an audio track, obviously, because it's audio material and you want this to be exported onto an audio track. So I created one here which is called Keys Export. I select this and then I need to hit Set. Bam, and then if it's mapped, it displays the name here. Okay, so now it's if I perform this, it's going to my keys export track and is putting in that clip here. I have a few more functions now because I thought it would be nice to not only export the clip but having like an automatic like workflow being triggered. So you hit this, it's being exported, it's being triggered globally on the next, like on your, depending on your global launch quantization, on the next one, and stopping the looper so that you don't have both things then running, maybe even deleting the content of the looper so it's cleared for new loops here, and then some more advanced steps for if there is a clip already, should it replace that clip or should it walk down on the same track or should it go to the right. And that would be great use when you use my Ableton, my one button live looper, because the one button live looper uses up to 10 tracks in one section here, and you can just export things in here, but that's a different topic. We already have quite a few things we want to set up here. So if we are saying, well, export the clip to track and then stay on that track, or move the tracks to go to the next, let's say next 10 tracks. So if you want, if you have a clip on the first one, it will then go to the next track and import it there, import it there, import it there. I will do a different video about how to integrate this with my one button live looper, because then that would make more sense. But to not have this video here too long, and to let's keep a focus on the create clip from looper device here, let's go through the different functions. So if we say track, stay on this track, so stay on the keys export, and then export it to scene 1. So that means if I already have a clip in there, it will replace that clip. So if we have this button here, and then if I export there again, it will replace the clip which was formerly in there. Okay, so if you have it set up like this, stay on the track, export to scene 1 always, or export to scene whatever, always it goes up till 128. So export always to this track and scene which is selected here. If there's already clip in there, replace that clip. Okay, so that's where to export to. You could say as well, export it to next. So if there is a clip already, it will look, oh, there is a clip already, and let's look for the next empty clip slot. So here's a clip already, and then it will look for the next empty clip slot and export it in there. Okay, cool. So that makes sense maybe if you're if you want to redo some stuff without deleting things. Cool. Then you have 2 more sections here. So if you want the clip to automatically play, so that's what is set in here. So if I just put this in here, if I just have this set to, if the play is turned off, it will just export the clip, done. If it's set to play, then it will play the clip, and this clip triggering is per default taking over your settings from your global launch quantization. So that will happen automatically now. So if we can have this running here, let's set the metronome to 7/8. So if I'm now hitting export, it will start on the next one. Okay? Then if we have what should the looper do? So if the looper is playing, let's quickly show you this. So if the looper is playing, so we're now hearing the looper content, and obviously when we are exporting the clip, we don't want the looper to play, so it's automatically stopping here right now. Stop the looper. You can have the looper running as well, and what you have as well is you can clear the looper automatically. That means a clear of what's currently in this looper will be performed as well. Okay, so we have play a scene here as well. So those are kind of like the automatic actions. What should happen after or when you export the clip? Do you want the clip to play or not? Do you want the looper to stop or being cleared? And I added another function here. Do you want a scene to start playing? So it might be nice if you just automatically want a scene to be triggered. So for example, if the current selected scene should be triggered, or if a specific scene should be triggered, that can be used for if you have other clips in here, maybe some rhythm or whatever you want to start automatically when you export this clip. This can be set up via this. It's just a little gimmick I thought would be nice to add in here, just maybe to have a few more things happening when you're live looping here. Okay, now we're coming to the last point here, which are the clip settings. So if you remember, I showed you in the beginning, if we're changing the tempo, if the looper is playing, let's get rid of that one. If the looper is playing here, and if we're changing the tempo, it's repitching the content. So yeah, it could be a nice effect, but if you play like not necessarily some drone or some experimental stuff, if you want to stay in the key, this is not really helpful. So the whole clip export thing is a great solution for that, but per default, the clip export and the Ableton Looper clip export action in the background is set to set this clip to the pitch warp algorithm. So let me explain this to you like this. So the looper is still playing. Stop. So we just want this clip and have a listen to that clip here. So if the warping is set to repitch, and that's what it's set automatically, it's doing the same problem here. So what we want to do is we want to have this set to complex. So obviously if you're playing live, you don't want to go into the newly exported clip and set this to complex, because now we change the tempo, but it stays on the same pitch here. So this is what can be set up here. If you want this clip setting to be warped, that's what we're doing here. That's the warping algorithm. That needs to be set here. And then you can decide which warp algorithm you want to pick. You have those 6 different options here. Complex is the default, and I think for live stuff it works generally, or most of the time, it's like the one you want to use. If you're doing more experimental stuff, then maybe you want to pick something else here. Okay, last section under the clip settings here, quantizations. And this is kind of like needs to be handled with care, because automatic quantization on the audio side is warping here anyway. So if we have this clip here, quantization would mean it would detect the little transients here and put them into the grid you specify to a certain percentage you are specifying here. That sometimes can make sense, sometimes might not sound as nice. So what we want to do here now is we want to be really careful with that, and let's say we're in 8 notes here. Let's pick 8 notes, let's quantize that to 8 notes and switch on quantization, and let's see how this sounds. Actually sounds quite nice. So that's the difference to the first loop. It's very, very like, because I played so tight. No, you can hear, I can hear that it's a little bit more tighter. And as I said, the whole quantization needs to be handled with care. You can set it to up 100% here, can be done as well. So let's do this once more. And maybe let's set this to 16, so just so that you get an idea of that. It's not always the right tool to choose here. Maybe spend some time on rehearsing, playing more straight if you want, if you want this to be really straight. So let's have a listen here. Sounds quite nice to me as well. Still have this crackling in here, which is probably due to the screencast because I'm routing my audio back and forth here. Okay, so but just like so that you know, be aware that this is kind of handled with care. Quantization wasn't setting on. Let's do this once more. Yeah. And it needs some time to perform this quantization. So I'm just editing this video, and I already made an update on the Create Clips from Looper version here. So there is a little issue. Ableton Live needs to buffer the newly created clip first before it can quantize it, and that's why I added a delay setting here, like how many milliseconds or seconds even you can specify to when the quantization should be performed. So this will work very good on very fast computers and if you have shorter loops. So at the moment we have quite a short loop here, which is just 1 bar. And if we export this, and I trigger the export here via a MIDI controller, we can see that it is buffering inside here really quick and can apply this quantization here quite quick. If you have a not so quick computer, and if you have a longer content here, Ableton will take some time to buffer this clip, which was just created and can only trigger the whole quantization setting I put in here after the clip was finished. So you might need to play around here with the quantization triggering and performing time here. So this is, as I said from the beginning, it is a little extra. It might make sense for some users. You need to take this extra and apply this extra with care and need to look if that really works for you. Those are little extras you can add here once you feel like, well, actually this is a good way of being able to take looper content, put that into a clip. The advantage definitely is here to be able to save stuff, to be able to use the transport a little bit more easier, stop and play, because the whole looper content is being saved in a different buffer. If you open it up, if you change the tempo, if you hit clear, if you delete it, it is automatically deleted by then, and recalling things from a Ableton Looper buffer is not as safe as having those things saved as a clip. Plus, as well, you're now able to do the whole clip looping thing, and take this as an example here to be able to go into the whole clip looping section here, because you're bind to a set tempo here now. Anyways, that could work quite well for you, I guess, to use that if your live looping use case is approach is fitting that. Cool. Okay, so again, this is one device you can get separately, the Create Clips from Looper device. You can get this separate, but you can get this a little bit cheaper if you buy the whole suite, where we have the Looper Controller device, the multiple Looper Controller device, which is great for deleting and resetting all multiple loopers at once. And we have the visualizer, which is that piece here, so that would be only included. Those are separate devices. You can get them as a pack, and you can get the Create Clips from Looper device as a single device as well. Again, you would need Max for Live and Ableton Live 12 to make use of those. Okay, happy looping and take care. Bye-bye.